Revelation is a direct experience from God. It's direct communication. And I received a very specific kind of direction to go. And that direction was I had to build an ark.
An ark.
And God had said to me that I was to build an ark before the flood. And I didn't know what that meant.
No.
I had walked away from religion at a very young age, so I wasn't religious, I wasn't spiritual, I'd never read a spiritual book in my life. And I thought I wasn't spiritual, but as it turns out, when I looked at my life, my whole life was a spiritual experience. I had 4 near-death experiences, I had over 500 out-of-body experiences, visions, all of this. But I kind of thought this was normal, everybody was having it, and I didn't speak about it. But my whole life, as it turned out, was just basically one spiritual experience after another.
Is that the same for everyone?
No, well, I can't speak for everyone, but I'm sure people are having many, many spiritual experiences.
Of which they don't know that
exactly,
exactly,
because I wasn't aware.
Yeah.
But when I became conscious, I seen the truth in everything. I seen that what I can do now is I can purposely just have an out-of-body experience at will. Why? Because of all those experiences I was having, I was trying to stop them. And these started happening when I was 17 after my second near-death experience. I went through 5 years of having an out-of-body experience at least once a week for the next 5 years. And I hated them. They were frightening because I didn't know the rules that apply when you have an out-of-body experience. They're different than the physical rules. So I didn't know how the system operated, and it was terrifying not to be in control when you were out of your body. And I did everything I could to stop it, and I didn't know that this was what most of the spiritual community was trying to do. And
I was for free.
And I was trying to stop it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say that there's many people having experiences at many different levels.
Yeah. But, I first want to ask you, Michael, before we go to the big poster. How come I have this book, A Course in Miracles, laying on the side of my bed, and I look at it, and sometimes I open it and I read one sentence and I go, oh, and sometimes I read one sentence and I go, go away. After this book, no more excuses.
Yeah.
You know, let me know.
Yeah.
There's some part of me that doesn't want to read this book.
That's exactly, you've just hit the nail on the top of the head here. You see, what people have to realize is there's 2 yous, there's 2 Patricks. Okay? There's the part of you that's your false image, and that part is very loyal to the ego thought system, because that's its source, that's its lifeblood is the ego thought system. Then there's the part of you would be your personality, and your personality is in your center, and that is direct linkly to source. So when you're off center, you're in your false image in the persona, or you're in your false image in the shadow. Mm-hmm. So you're always making decisions at this level. So there's 3 decision makers at level 1. Did you know this?
No, I thought only.
And you use all 3.
Yeah, 3. I use all 3.
Yes. For example, here's the false image in the persona. These are the characteristics of the persona. Mm-hmm. So, have you ever been a victim?
I think so.
You know, you could be a victim. Oh, there's no milk.
Yeah.
Oh, you're a victim. You know, oh, it's raining and I was going to go for a walk. I mean, one thing that everybody's doing in this world, we're all really, really good at playing the victim.
Yeah.
But every time you play the victim, you're making that decision in here, in the persona. Now, the persona basically is the good image. It's where you have all the good people. This is the good room. This is where all the special people are.
Ah.
And the shadow is where all the bad people are, all the guilty people, the victimizers. So in the Course, you have 2 main characters in the ego thought system. You have the victim and you have the victimizer. Well, this is the home of the victim. This is the persona. Mm-hmm. And you'll know you're here, that you are a victim, because this is also the home of fear. This is the home of the victimizer. This is also the home of guilt. So have you ever been angry with someone?
Of course.
Well, then you made a decision with the false image in the shadow. And your anger is an attempt to get rid of the guilt. Remember, the false image in here is feeling guilty. False image in here is feeling fearful. So when Jesus says the Son of Man has no place to rest his head, we're always either in this mindset or this mindset. Yeah. One or the other.
So when I blame my parents that they didn't give me enough love in my childhood,
you're making that decision with the shadow decision maker, which is the ego. And when you see your parents as special and the best parents in the world and no one else like them, you're making that decision because here is the mind of specialness.
Yeah.
It's the persona where all the special people have. So there's a set of rules between these two.
But is the personality the right mix of the two? Or what
No, the personality is basically your center. Your personality is stoic.
Stoic?
Stoic, which means it's without emotions in the regards.
Calm.
For example, people ask me, how do I know my false image? And I say, that's easy. The characteristics of the false image will betray itself. So it's kind of like, it's only the false image that will feel guilty. It's only the false image will feel fear. It's only the false image who will react. It's only the false image who will judge. The personality will not encounter, will not take part of any of these kind of characteristics of the ego. So the real bully here is not the ego, it's the false image in the persona. Because this false image is always betraying the personality. For example, I did the retreat yesterday, and there was a lady there, and just to give you an example of how the false image can get you into trouble, she basically, her brother had asked her many years ago, kind of pressurized her into making a decision to buying a house for her. And she was in the good person, she thought this was, she couldn't say no, and she turned around and bought a house. And then when she bought the house, he told her then she had to take out another loan because he needed more money, and she done that also. And when she went through all of this process of doing this, coming from the good person in the persona, she realized what a mistake she had made. But those decisions were all made here by her false image. Now she has stuff in Sharon in the online classes, and she realizes what she did and who did it. And it wasn't her personality, it was her false image who made that decision.
Sometimes the damage is already done.
Yes.
I've broken with my family, I've never seen my children again. Can it still be turned backwards?
Yes, of course, that's what the miracle, that's why this book is called A Course in Miracles. Remember, the miracle transcends time and space. You can go back into any moment in your life, in your past, and can be corrected like that with the miracle. And that's what I was showing yesterday. I mean, this miracles is all about doing miracles, yeah? But you ask somebody.
Yeah, we think it's healed in one instant. That's what we think.
Yeah, and people are confused with the miracles of Jesus. You see, there's two types of miracles. There's real miracles and there's unreal miracles. The miracles that Jesus did was unreal miracles because he was changing form. He was manipulating form outside of himself. The real miracle is where you turn an ancient hate into a present love.
Ancient hate into present love.
And there's a formula. You bring the effect to the cause, you make